Hey everyone, I'm Jeremy. I'm here with Daryl today. I'm going to be talking about Graph Explorer with Microsoft Graph. So thanks for your time today, mate.
Hey, it's my favorite topic.
So your favorite topic because you're the PM on Graph Explorer?
I am the PM on Graph Explorer.
And so why would a developer be interested in using Graph Explorer?
They want to explore the graph. They want to learn about the graph, right? The graph has so many capabilities, so many different services are available, and more services are being added all the time. And what the teams do is, who are putting up those services, they bring samples and they incorporate them into the Graph Explorer. So you go to Graph Explorer, you can play around, you can see what kind of responses would come back for an API. It's a learning playground.
So how do they get started? What's the best place to...
The best place to go to is aka.ms/GE, or just go to the homepage of developer.microsoft.com, and there's a link there for Graph Explorer. And you want me to show you around?
Yeah, it'd be great, yeah.
Excellent. So here we have Graph Explorer. There is a sign-in button, but you don't have to sign in. We will do queries against a demo tenant if you don't sign in. So you can go around without signing in, just play my profile. You can look at my photo. As you can tell, that's not me because I'm not signed in. And my mail. There's a whole bunch of different operations that you can try. And beyond that, there's only a few of the samples that are actually shown here on the left by default. If you click on Show More Samples, you'll see a whole host of other things that you can turn on. So if you want to look at SharePoint sites, you can turn on those samples, and those will then appear down the left-hand side within Graph.
And you're saying as PMs that are working with us release new APIs, they're actually submitting new ones that they'll show up automatically?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
It's a GitHub project. It's open source. We asked them to do a PR, and they put new samples in here demonstrating the capability of their service that they've created.
That's neat.
So I mentioned you can do both get and you can do post here. So we have a post here, but you'll notice there's a little kind of no entry symbol here because you can't do write operations, obviously, because we're not signed in. So let's go ahead and sign in. And when I click here, we go through the regular prompt. I'm going to pick one of my own tenants. And this is the first time I've signed into this application, so it's going to ask for consent. Can Graph Explorer access all of this data on my behalf? And I'm going to say, yes, it can. Now, that doesn't give you access to all of the capabilities of the graph. It's only a small subset. And if you want to be able to access more capabilities on the graph, you need to go and provide additional consent. So if you click on Modify Permissions, you get this even longer list of permissions, which you can then click on these options and then say Modify Permissions down here at the bottom, and it will ask for consent for those additional things.
And the recommended approach here is that if you've got an account with your company, you probably don't want to be using that against here to play around. The best thing to do is to sign up for the developer program.
Absolutely.
And get your own tenant, and then you can play in a play tenant in Graph Explorer.
Yeah, and that will allow you to start to learn about things. If you notice on some of those modified permissions, they required you to be admin in order to be able to consent to those.
Which you wouldn't be able to do if you were using your day-to-day work account.
Absolutely. Yep. So we were looking at the Graph Community call, and if I click on this one here, you'll see now it's filled in a body up at the top, and I can do post and send that. If I want to understand more about these particular samples that I'm running, I can actually just click on the icon that's by the side here, and that will take me straight into the docs page that is talking about this particular, well, in this case, is list calendars. And it will show you, if you need to know what permissions you need to add, just come here to the docs page, and it will tell you right here which permissions you need to add in that Modify Permissions dialog. As you're making calls to the graph, we actually keep a short history of the calls that you're making. And so if you go Show More here, we'll see a list here. And one of the features we added recently is the ability just to export this as a HAR file. So it will take both the request and the response. It's the same kind of format that you can do from Chrome DevTools, or Fiddler can also. If you want to share this with somebody else, do the request and the response, you can actually do it using this technique. Now, if you want to share a query with somebody, you don't want to actually share the results and the actual data, there's also another button here where if you just click this Share Query here, it'll provide a URL that you can grab and just paste into the browser window, and it will take you, it's a deep link directly into Graph Explorer. There's a bunch of hidden features in here that just make it easier to discover and share what you've learned about Graph Explorer.
Well, that's great. Thank you very much for sharing that. So they can go to graph.microsoft.com, click Graph Explorer at the top, or just aka.ms/GE, and they'll immediately be able to go in and try Graph Explorer. And just a quick tip, if you click on here, there's the More button, because Daryl's got it zoomed in quite a bit. You can get to that developer program in the menu and sign up today for free and get your Office 365 tenant, where you'll be able to start playing in your own test environment rather than using production, which is always recommended.
Definitely.
Thanks very much, Daryl,
You're
and
very welcome.
enjoy.